Hi, my name is Michael DeStefano, and today I'd like to talk about why I now believe that leaders are not born, they're made. This is a concept that has really kind of reinforced in my mind throughout the semester in this leadership class, and not just our leadership class, but also kind of throughout my entire first semester at Canisius. Um, we've all heard the quote "natural born leader" when describing someone that we know as a leader or so like a famous person, a famous leader. We've all heard that this person is a natural born leader. So while I believe that there certainly are probably some people that are born with a leadership skill set that could be considered a natural born leader, I kind of am here to poke holes in that whole sentiment. So basically, when we say a natural born leader, we're basically saying that this person, like their leadership skills, we can attribute that leadership skill set that they have to something that we can't replicate because we weren't born with it. And I frankly just don't believe that anymore. I think that we can obtain those leadership skills through working on ourselves. And that's really kind of what the bulk is of what I want to talk about today. So for me, building on that, I think leadership is not just a position or a title. Like a manager, CEO, executive. You can be a leader. You can be a leader in all different types of roles. But what I really believe in is leadership is not that position or a title. It's more or less a collection of practices and behaviors that we basically have experienced throughout our lives. Anything that we've experienced that we can learn from and that we can work on ourselves, I think that would attribute to our leadership skill set. Um, I guess the question that we really should ask ourselves, if leaders aren't born, then why do we see such an abundance these days? Especially in this course, a lot of the content that Professor Moser has given us. Why do we see a lot of leadership seminars, leadership books? Like a lot of the videos we've seen athletic directors go on and talk about their time as leaders. So there's a lot of resources out there that are telling us that just because you're not born with this skill set, you can work on it. A lot of these people that we've seen, these athletic directors, they weren't just born leaders. They became leaders throughout hard work and throughout starting in an organization at a young age and working their way up through the organization by practicing on things that they thought they needed help with. So I thought one of the coolest assignments right at the end of the semester here for us was that we got to pick a leadership book of our choosing, and we got to basically write a paper about it and explain what we learned from it. I chose my book on Vince Lombardi. I think he's one of the most iconic leaders, especially after reading the book. I mean, I didn't know too much about him before, but especially after reading the book, he's one of the most iconic leaders we can find in the past, and a lot of his concepts really translate to the present day as well. So I'd like to take a quote from that book that really kind of harps on my theme here of the fact that leaders are not born, but they're made. Vince says leadership is not just one quality, but rather a blend of many qualities. And while no one individual possesses all of these talents that are needed for leadership, each man can develop that. Each man can develop a combination that make him a leader. What he's basically saying is, just because you don't have the full leadership skill set, you can make up your own collection of traits to make you your own unique leader. And I think there's a lot to be said for that because we don't want to replicate someone's leadership skill, their skill set. We really want to have our own unique leadership skill set because that's what makes it really us. And I think it's a very profound quote, and it really kind of struck me. I actually closed my leadership paper with it because I felt it was something important, and it's something that I've actually taken a lot out of. So while Vince talks about these leadership traits and these qualities, I think one of the most important ones that I would like to communicate to everyone, and that I feel like is something that I really have felt that I kind of need to work on, is self-awareness. Self-awareness can include us asking questions about ourselves and leading us ourselves on a process to really know who we are, to really break it down and understand what we believe in, what our morals and our ethics are. And these are all types of things that when you're in a situation as a leader are going to come in handy. You want to be very grounded. You want to be confident in yourself. You don't want to be second guessing what you believe in or stuff like that when you're in a serious leadership situation, because it could make a bad decision. It could affect a lot of other people other than yourself. So it's something that we really need to take the time to do. So I believe this needs to be done on a personal level and a professional level, completely separate. There's totally different things we go through in our personal lives that we go through in our professional lives that need to be compartmentalized. So I think it's important we split those up when we're doing this self-awareness process. But like through the self-knowledge process, we gain that self-discovery about ourselves, and we find out who we really are. And I think it can keep us in a situation where we're confident about the decisions we're making. We're confident about, what we're saying. And it's just something that I've really found important after learning about. It's not something that I really, thought too much about previous to this class or previous to reading this book. So I just think it was really something interesting that I've learned this year, just about leadership and learning about ourselves. So throughout this process as well, I think it's important that we need to be honest with each other, or honest with ourselves, rather. So if we're not honest with ourselves, if we're not willing to hear, about our shortcomings, we're never going to improve, and we're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And it's not going to be a learning process for us when we make a mistake. It's going to just be making a mistake and most likely repeating that mistake. So I think being honest with ourselves in this self-awareness and self-discovery process is extremely important. And in conclusion, really, I want to say that I've learned, if you do have doubts, if you have doubts about yourself being a leader or about having the right leadership skill set, I think that's okay. I think there's nothing to be alarmed about. I don't think it's something that, you need to just sit there and kind of be all depressed about and say, like, I'm never going to be a good leader. I wasn't born this way. I'm not going to become a good leader. I don't have the skill set. I don't have what it takes. I frankly just don't believe in that anymore. I think throughout the semester and throughout some of the material that we've had, I've learned that not everyone just starts out being this perfect leader with the perfect skill set. I think we can work on ourselves constantly, and this extends to a lot of other parts of our lives as well. But being a leader, we can extend this, and we can work on ourselves and make our skill set better. And we can make ourselves better leaders. So basically, kind of my challenge to everyone and challenge to myself really is just pick something out that you feel you're weak in, whether it be the self-awareness process that I described, or whether it be your public speaking, or whether it be your writing, or whether it be anything really that it has to do with leadership. Just take a day, take a week, take a month, however you want to break it up, and work on that skill. Just work on it in any way that you possibly can. Whether that's you reading a book, whether that's you kind of taking a public speaking class or something like that. Give yourself that advantage and work on it. And you can be able to say, if you're not good at it, at least you tried, and at least you are showing that you want to improve in these areas. Because if we don't work on ourselves, it's obviously it's not just gonna be handed to us. These leadership skills, like I've said before, we weren't born with them. So I think it's very important, and that's basically kind of my challenge to myself in what I got out a lot of this class. I'd like to say as well that I think this class was fantastic. Learned a lot of things about leadership that I really had no idea about. A lot of just even simple concepts that really kind of just hammered home to me that being a leader is it's a lot more about it's about a lot more than delegating people. Really, it's about being able to know yourself and be confident in yourself and those type of things. So I'm really glad that I did take this course, and leaders aren't born, they're made. Thanks.